Hey there. When we think about AI research, it's easy to picture something, well, kind of abstract, right? Like labs, whiteboards, crazy complex math. But what if I told you that all that high level research is directly behind a huge change happening in a tool you probably use, I don't know, dozens of times a day? Today, we are going to connect the dots, all the way from the most advanced AI labs straight to your search bar. So here's the game plan. We're going to start big with the absolute explosion in language model research, then kind of rein it in to see what the core goals really are. After that, we'll zero in on how all this is changing search itself. We'll look at the old way versus the new way, see how they can actually work together, and then wrap up by looking at what's coming next. All right, let's just jump right in. The world of large language models, or LLMs, isn't just growing, it's detonating. Seriously, the speed of innovation is almost impossible to keep up with. And that's not hyperbole. I mean, literally every single day, new research papers are dropping that could totally change what we thought these models could do. It feels like a constant fire hose of new ideas, new breakthroughs, and brand new applications. It's for sure one of the most exciting fields in science right now. And just look at this list. This is what I mean by an explosion. The sheer variety here is just wild. We're not just talking about making chatbots a little better at small talk. Nope. We're talking about research into getting LLMs to create entire audio scenes, or act as, get this, text attorneys, or understand 3D worlds, or even tell a robot how to walk. I mean, it's just this incredible, ambitious, creative free-for-all. So you see all these different projects, right? From law and robotics to audio design. It kind of looks like chaos. But is there a pattern to it all? You bet there is. If you zoom out, you can see that most of this research is really pushing towards just a few big, fundamental goals. You can really boil it all down to these three main buckets. A huge chunk of the effort, about 40%, is all about making the models smarter, improving their reasoning, their logic, their accuracy. Then you've got another big piece of the pie dedicated to making them safer, more reliable, more trustworthy. And the rest? That's all about expanding what they can do, teaching them completely new tricks. So on the safety front, one really crucial idea is something called operational safety. It's not just about stopping an AI from saying bad things. It's about teaching it to stay in its lane. So an AI designed for, say, supply chain logistics knows that it should not be answering questions about medical advice. It's all about making the tool focused, predictable, and, safe. Now, in that making them smarter category, you get some really mind-bending stuff like prompt optimization. Get this. Researchers are using one AI to figure out the best possible way to talk to another AI. It's like an AI efficiency expert that writes the perfect instructions to guarantee the other AI does its best work. It's pretty wild. And this is a perfect example of expanding abilities. Multimodality is all about breaking these AIs out of their text-only prison. Papers like 3D LLM and Wave Journey are literally teaching them to see in 3D and to hear complex sounds. They're learning to understand and interact with the world in a way that's much richer than just words on a page. Okay, so we've seen the big picture goals. Make them smarter, safer, and more capable. That's all great, but how does that actually turn into something you or I can use? Well, let's bring it right back down to earth and connect all this high-tech research to a tool we use every single day. And that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, it's cool that an AI can compose music or whatever, but how does that research actually show up in your life? Where do you feel the impact? We're going to zoom in on probably one of the most common things we do on our computers and phones, using the search bar. Because what's happening inside that little white box is the perfect case study for how this abstract AI science becomes a very real, tangible tool for millions of us. So to really get what's changing, we first have to understand that there are basically two different ways to search for things now. The first one is based on specific words, and the second one is based on what you actually mean. First, you've got lexical search. This is the classic Google search we all grew up with. You type in best coffee shops near me, and it scans the internet for pages that have those exact words, best coffee shops. It's super fast and super precise if you know the exact words to look for. But this is where all that LLM research comes into play, semantic search. It doesn't just match keywords. It uses AI to figure out the intent behind your words. It tries to understand what you're really looking for. So if you type in place to get a good latte, it understands the concept of coffee shops and quality, and it gives you relevant results, even if they don't use your exact words.
Okay, so this table really lays out the trade-offs, and it's super interesting. On one hand, you've got lexical search. It's lightning fast and it's transparent. You get why it gave you that result. But semantic? That's the smart one. It gets the context, but it needs more horsepower, more computation. And sometimes the results feel a little magical, a bit like a black box. So it really boils down to this. One gives you pinpoint precision, the other gives you pure discovery.
And this is just a perfect everyday example of the difference. If you do a lexical search for heart-healthy meals, you'll probably only get pages that say exactly that. But with semantic search, it understands the concept. It knows heart-healthy is related to things like omega-3s, low sodium, or the Mediterranean diet. It gives you things that are actually useful, not just literal matches.
So, here's the kicker. This isn't an either-or situation. The future of finding things isn't about one replacing the other. No, it's about blending them together, taking the best of both worlds to create something way more powerful. Just think about it. When you need to find a specific product code, like SKU 12345, you want the absolute precision of lexical search. You don't want similar products. But when you're shopping and you type comfy walking shoes, you absolutely want the discovery power of semantic search to show you cool options you hadn't thought of. The smartest systems are now figuring out how to use the right tool for the right job instantly. Okay, so let's zoom out one last time and tie this all together. We've gone from the abstract world of the research lab down to the humble search bar, and now let's look ahead. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that the world of AI research isn't really that abstract. It's the engine. Every time you read about a new AI paper, you're looking at the fuel that's going to power the next generation of smarter, more helpful tools that we all use. It's happening right now. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question. We've seen how this flood of innovation is completely changing how we find information. But that's just one example. The real question is, what's next? What other simple everyday tool are you using right now that's about to be completely transformed? Thanks for tuning in.